For years, I've been sleeping on something, and today I'm going to make something that I can sleep in using what I sleep on. Bear with me. In this video is the third installment of my luxury sleepwear design as I bring it to life in a toile form. Now, a toile is a sample of a garment designed in fabrics that have a similar weight or property in order to test the design and fit. Now, if you haven't watched the previous two videos, why not pause this video, go back and do just that. You'll be able to watch me design my idea and you'll be able to watch me draft the pattern from a basic block. But today, I'm using an old bedsheet, do you see the link now? To make my sleepwear design toile. So I'm going to be walking you through the construction process as I turn this into the real thing, and fingers crossed, the fitting amendments are minimal. So inside the DPL Atelier, my premium members and I have been working along a create, cut, contour, construct framework cycle, designing, drafting, and making, you guessed it, sleepwear. And so I'm sharing my personal process here with you guys on YouTube, and I can't wait to get stuck in. So my pattern pieces are cut out. Another great thing about using, apart from the meterage that they get you, bed sheets are actually a really economical way of testing your design ideas because they really do give you the most bang for your buck. But this one in particular is also cotton. Now, there's nothing against using poly blends for sleepwear fabric if you don't sleep hot. But mainly what you're going to find with sleepwear is they are natural fibers. They're breathable. The designs often have positive ease. This is a conversation my members and I were having. Of course, you might feel comfortable going to bed in a tight-fitting t-shirt. That would be a stretch fabric with negative ease. But for the most part, sleepwear is loose, it's breathable, it's comfortable. And so having this cotton bed sheet, I do always strive to make wearable toiles. So hopefully this will be functional by the end of it. The one thing I'm not going to do is enclosed seams, anything that requires just that little bit of extra time. This is a test garment. And so by doing French seams on my test garment, if the fit isn't right, that's just going to be more extensive in my process to amend and get right. So I'm not going to bother doing that. The nice thing about this is I do have a clear right and wrong side. It's slightly lighter on the wrong side. So that is going to help me when I come to sew. Because this was a fitted bed sheet with those elasticated corners, I wouldn't be surprised if the grain on this has warped slightly out of shape because obviously this has been at one time pulled quite tightly over a bed. So these are the kind of things that might throw little discrepancies off, but a sleepwear design, or at least the one that I'm working on, is quite forgiving. So the first thing I'm going to do is my pleating, which is quite exciting. So I can see that the pleating is going towards the armhole, and this is the first pleat and this is the second pleat. So from my notches, I can fold this over to my second notch, and then I can fold that over notch to notch before pinning that in place. Now, if I wanted that to be a sharper pleat, I could give that a good press at the iron, but if I want that to remain quite soft, I can just do a line of basting stitches at the machine, which is what I'm going to quickly do now. I'm going to make sure with my basting stitches, they are set to the longest stitch length. I'm not going to back tack. And I'm going to make sure that that line of stitching is within my seam allowance so that when I do come to construct my shoulder seams, that won't be visible from the right side of the garment. With my two front bodice pieces, I can now open up my back bodice and right sides together, pin this at the shoulder, and if I wanted to, along the side seam as well, and I can then sew those right sides together. One thing I will do is try to sew, especially when you're working with left and right sides, the same direction on both sides. So on the right side, I went from the bottom to the top on the seam, on the side seam. And so on this left side, I'm also going to go from the bottom to the top. This is just going to help you, especially when it comes to neckline, shoulder seams, things like this. If you ever feel like your sewing is a little wonky or a little out of whack, that could absolutely be a cause of it. So as much as you can, whenever working with symmetrical designs, construct it in a symmetrical way. Now, before I press everything, I'm actually going to do the same principle with my facing pieces. And so I'm going to open them up like so. These are my two fronts, and I want to connect them to my back pieces. So I can open these up and I can flip these over right sides facing. I want to connect my fronts to the shoulder up here, And my bases to the side seam here, also stopping where there's a notch, which I don't think I've notched. Crazy. Because this fabric is so lightweight, I think I'm just going to push my seams in the same direction. So rather than press it for an open or plain seam, I'm going to push them all towards the back. This is going to ever so lightly press my pleats, but I do want that soft pleat finish. Quick fit check. Let's not forget that this is going to be face. There's going to be an extra centimetre taken off around the neck and the armholes as well. But I'm quite happy with it. I think the silhouette is pretty much what I wanted from my design. I think the shaping on the side seam has it kick out almost like a flowery tulip inspiration, which is cute when you think of my final fabric having the cactus flowers on it. So yes, the one thing I now need to go through is how to pipe the scalloped hem and how to turn that same piping into a suitable tie detail, because I'm going to have 2 ties here. But it isn't meant, just to reiterate this, you might be thinking that doesn't meet in the middle. My design doesn't meet in the middle. This is actually going to be slightly open all the way down the front. The shoulder seam hits me where it's supposed to. The side seam runs perpendicular to the floor. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the armhole. The armhole actually feels really comfortable. And yeah, it's a good 2 finger widths below my armpit, which is what you kind of strive for. Again, not forgetting that I do still have a centimetre to take off there once I start to finish it with the bias bound finish. So yes, very happy. I mean, if I leave this open, sorry to expose my muffin top. Ooh, your girl's got to get to the gym. If I leave this open, sure, it's a little bit like quite a lot, but with the ties, it's going to keep that in place. It's going to keep that a little bit more modest, which is what I want. I'm sure I'm going to learn a few things now, trying to pipe a scalloped hem around a curve and figure out how to do that little tie detail. This next stage, yeah, is where it could all come undone. Now this is the piping I've bought to go with my final fabric. This is going to be a really nice contrast. But I've got enough to play around with it on my toile. Now, as I say, I've never done this before, but I'm just trying to give thought to how I construct this. So when I do come to sandwich my piping between my facing, or how this is going to work, if I didn't have a pipe... Oh, how did that rip? Oh, how annoying. Oh, wow, this is a toile, it's fine. But what will actually happen is I'm going to be aligning my facing pieces around the edge of my sleepwear, like so, and I'm going to be sewing that all around so that when you turn it through, you're going to have this nice, neat edge. But the goal is to have this piping sandwiched between it, like so. And so I really need to figure out how to navigate around a arguably complex shape. And I think what I'm going to do is get started with clipping into it. This is going to release the piping tape, and I'll be able to navigate that around these scalloped edges. I've actually kind of changed my technique as I went along. You can see that I've clipped all along here to try and make it go around the curve smoother. And then once I got to the right front bodice, I didn't bother clipping it apart from the point in the corner. And so I wonder if the right front bodice is going to look any different to the left. I just feel like this point here where I started, which looks like quite a soft round, versus this point here where I finished, which is just a little bit more pronounced. Yeah, so even as I was clipping and pinning this along, I was learning as I was going. So let's sew this and baste this at the machine before I figure out my ties. Okay, so I've basted this on using a zipper foot actually, or a single tuft foot, is that what it would be called? And yeah, it was quite interesting. I was like definitely learning as I was going. But the points that I find the neatest are when I've left my needle in the work and pivoted. I'll be interested to see what the kind of structure of this tape does to the hem of the garment. But if we flip this around, you can see that that is doing its thing. Oh, we flip that. Oh no, I think that works. I have no idea if this is going to work or not. I think I might have got those points wrong. And I might almost need to catch that. Ooh, I don't know. This is kind of exciting. I like that I'm getting confused. I like that I'm getting confused. If I turn this the right way around, obviously I've piped the curve well, but how do I solve? Because what I've done here is almost I didn't think of this, is almost a point, but I'm going to want that to be a valley. So do I just get that caught in it? Okay, so it is not as straightforward as I thought it was going to be. Right, however, before I do that, I need to turn this into ties. But because it has that line of stitching going on already, I think I'm going to be lazy. And if this works, great. But I think I'm going to be lazy and just try and cut as close to the stitch line as possible and then turn this into a bit of cord. Okay, so now my little ties are pinned onto my waist. My piping is sewn around my hemline. I can bring in my facing and I can pin it all the way around, matching the shoulder seams, matching all of that, and sandwiching my piping into the seams. Just as I was filming, we had a delivery with more of this. So that's good. That's for my final one. That is all pinned in place. Let's now sew my facing to my outer shell and see what I can do in order to fix what's going on here with the points. I think I might be able to get away with it if I just sew over it and come back. So where the piping is here, I'll catch that outside of my seam allowance so that when I flip it through that's visible. But where it comes to the point, I might just sew up a little bit higher and catch it inside my seam allowance. We'll see, let's go. And then this one isn't going over it. Let's just try and pivot. This one, I think it's going over it. So let's just do that. Oh, that's quite neat. I'm pleasantly surprised. If I was happy with that, just kind of pressing it over, that also looks quite neat to me as well. I think it is just a case of personal preference. So again, this is where I didn't sew over it and enclosed it in the seam allowance and I actually left it out. And if I can just take my time and just kind of set it with a bit of steam, I don't think it looks horrendous. Yes, I think that looks like the neatest in terms of a point, but then you lose the kind of piping detail. And again, this side seam here, look, seems to have caught when I've tried to do that sewing technique. And so I'm going to come in and seam rip that open. And I mean, that looks quite neat. So what's wrong with that? Nothing. Okay. It's all a case of me just trying to figure out which method I like the best. And maybe for my final garment, especially because it is going to be luxury sleepwear, I should absolutely be lending myself to more hand sewing rather than trying to take these shortcuts at the sewing machine. You know, it's something, if you've watched any of my videos, that I try and encourage time and time again. And so I really should be taking my own advice on that one. We have actually introduced Atelier assignments recently for premium members. And if you follow along with the weekly tasks, so this week is all about drafting our pattern and toiling up the initial design, then you will be entered into a monthly giveaway for gift cards towards fabrics and supplies. A quick try on before I finish the armhole. I did kind of forget about that. The only thing I would say, I'm actually quite impressed. It does kick out a bit, and that is from the structure of the piping, but I don't hate it. I don't hate this adding volume to my hips because I am an inverted triangle. So any width or, you know, additional silhouette I can put down here does balance out my shoulders and give me that silhouette. So I'm not mad at it at all. What I will say, and I am confused on this, if I'm honest, is my bust tie and my waist tie are about an inch higher than they need to be. My bust point, sorry to point to my nipple, my bust point is actually here. So I really wanted this tie to be about an inch lower. That's really easy. It's just a case of me measuring how low I want it and lowering the notch. The only reason I say I'm a little bit confused is this was plotted on my bust line. So I've gone wrong somewhere. The fit and everything for me, I'm really happy with it. It's so comfy. The right side facing, I'm going to start at the side seam or the armpit area, just because if you know, have any wobbly mistakes, which I'm probably going to, it's easier to conceal. It's a nice hidden area. And I'm just going to, I've got this is bias cut from an old project. I think it was from the Gemini blouse, one of the first ones I made. This is just a load of bias cut tape. And so I'm going to bring it in and right sides facing, I'm going to stitch this onto my armhole and around the armhole. Centimetre seam allowance, same as my pattern. I'm going to try not to stretch it. Obviously, you can pin this in place if you feel more confident to do that. I'm just going to come in, put that under my work, and sew around the circumference of my armhole. Just going to fold that one edge in, and you'll see why shortly. I can snip away the excess. Ooh. Now over at the iron, I'm going to be pushing that seam allowance inside, folding it under like that. But we also want to just press along the edge of our bias binding. You can do this before you attach if you want to, or if you just love being fiddly like I do, you can do it there. Trim away your seam allowance as an excess. And you'll notice that this little overlap I did, that once I press it through, that just neatens the edge nicely. Your bias binding will sit inside your armhole, and you just want to edge stitch that down. You can hand stitch it if you want to. You can do an invisible hand stitch, or at the machine, you can edge stitch that down and you will have a line of stitching visible this side. For my final garment, I do think I'm going to hand sew a lot more, but for the nature of, again, testing this design, I'm just going to quickly finish this off and sew that at the machine. But there we have it. This is my final toile. I think apart from moving this tie down ever so slightly so that it's in line with my apex, I'm really happy with this. Oh, we've got a puppy on the loose. Give me 2 seconds. And so, from Shep and I think this was a success. Let's not, I can just see he's exposing me ever so slightly. Oh, is it sleepy? What do you think? Yes, any words? I think I've learned a lot on how I wish to construct the piping detail, although I'm pleasantly surprised with how that's come out. Of course, the armhole, that is good food for thought. I actually think that's a really well-fitting armhole for my shape and my body. And so it's super comfy. I think the style line and the curvature on the back, I love that I changed that design detail in the pattern drafting stage. I love that I have played around with a new technique that is a little bit outside my comfort zone and my usual style, if I'm being honest. But all in all, I think this is such a cute little top. One that I will definitely be wearing when I next binge Netflix or read my book before bed or have some puppy cuddles. So thank you for watching along. Please let me know in the comments down below what you enjoyed most of this 3-part video series, and if you'd be interested in watching my final garment creation. And so if you did want a little bit of extra content on top of all of the exclusive tutorials we have available to you, why not come and join us inside the DPL Atelier? Stay safe, keep creative. I'll catch you on the flip side.